Hi, this is Marita, and today I am bringing you my January favorites. This is going to be a little bit different from my other videos because it's going to not be related to books at all. This is going to be a very fandom specific video, and I'm also going to talk about cartoons. I am going to talk about the books that I read in January, but that's going to be in a different video. So let's get started. So one of my first favorite things in January was a Tumblr upon page called Ship Personalities. This is a Tumblr upon where they kind of like take a ship and talk about like what personality the shippers of the ship have, and they take requests. So back in November, I did 2 requests. I requested that Fluttercord and Teru Mikami slash Kiyomi Takada would be done on this blog, and because they have quite a few requests. I think like right now they have 86 requests and they do like 2 a day. So it was gonna take till January to get this request fulfilled. And on the 5th of January, I went on the Tumblr upon and I saw that this person had done this. They had done Fluttercord and they had done Mikami slash Takada. And I was very happy and I was very pleased with what they wrote. It was Fluttercord shippers, and they said that the personality that Fluttercord shippers have is often that they're very fiercely loyal and they'll do anything for their friends, and if they feel like they've hurt their friends' feelings, and they'll do anything to kind of prepare the damage. And with Teru Mikami slash Kiyomi Takada shippers, they said that these people like are very fact based and they'll always double check before like they don't take anything at face value, and that they might come off as like standoffish, but they're actually fairly friendly underneath that kind of standoffishness. So, and I was so happy that these 2 requests was fulfilled, and yeah, it was really nice. It's nice to get requests fulfilled. um and another thing that I found is on the internet on DeviantArt. I'm gonna link her stuff down below. She does fan art of Dynasty Warriors, but what's kind of fun about this fan art is that she doesn't like draw them as these characters as human. She draws them as wolves, and wolves are one of my favorite animals. I adore wolves. I've seen them being fed at a zoo. I think they're like such fascinating creatures, and there's something like, I know like they're dangerous, but I think that besides that, then there's something kind of even like sympathetic about them. And I especially liked how she drew, and I think it's a girl, but you can correct me down below if I'm wrong. I really liked how she drew Chow Chow, and I also liked her interpretation of what Chugi Liang would look like as a wolf. For those who don't know, Dynasty Warriors is a Japanese video game series that's based on Chinese history, and it also takes influences from the classic novel Romance of the Three Kingdom. But while Romance of the Three Kingdom is very much a romanticized depiction of Chinese history, Dynasty Warriors is a little bit more fact based. And another Tumblr upon favorite of this month is called Interracial Ship of the Day. As it says in its name, it's all about interracial ships in TV shows and in cartoons and such. And they take requests, not, I guess you call it submissions. They take submissions, and they take fan art and all sorts of stuff. And I sent them a ask just a few days ago, because they have all sorts of different kinds of interracial ships, and they also have queer ships, and they have het ships. And I was asking them if they could recommend any AMVF couples, because I hadn't seen any featured on this Tumblr upon yet. And I got a very nice reply where the person said that it's very hard to find positive portrayals of AMVF that are unproblematic. She ended up recommending Glenn and Maggie from Walking Dead and Allison and Eddie from Fresh Off the Boat, so I'll try and get into those TV shows. And she also recommended a couple from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. And she said that she had to keep it short because a lot of these ships were kind of like making fun of Asian men or fetishizing Asian men. It was such a nice reply, and it's always fun to get recommendations. And actually, if you're interested, I would also recommend that you go and visit the Tumblr Pond. I'm gonna try and link that all down below. Uh, this month was very good for Tumblr Pond and me. I'm actually thinking about starting a Tumblr Pond, but I'll have to see. But I know like Tumblr Pond has a little bit of a bad reputation that people think that it's a place where people just go and fight all the time. But at least this month, in my experience, when I was interacting with people on Tumblr Pond, everybody was just super friendly and such. And I should maybe say, in case people don't know, AMVF basically means Asian male, white female. It's an acronym for relationships that involve Caucasian women and Asian men. So that was what I was asking for in the at the interracial ship of the day. Like, oh, could you guys recommend this kind of representation of an interracial relationship? And speaking of AMVF, I have found a new favorite YouTuber this month called Kento Bento. Kento Bento is a YouTube channel where a guy who calls himself Kento Bento and his girlfriend Nina, they do videos on Asian culture. They've done a thing on Asian superheroes, but they've also done a 3-part video where they go through all the different kinds of AMVF relationships that exist, and you get a lot of facts and you learn a lot of things about Asian culture, but it also has a lot of like lighthearted, funny videos. And I really like the way they perform in front of the camera. I think that they have a very likable personality. I'm gonna link that down below if anyone's interested in checking them out. But I think it's a really fun YouTube channel. And then the last thing that I really liked in the month of January was that I caught up on Bob's Burger. Bob's Burger is a Western animated television show about a guy called Bob who runs a burger restaurant, and he has 3 kids, a teenager called Tina and a tween called Jean and a 10-year-old daughter called Louise. And it's basically about this family's misadventures and financial struggles and their slice of life adventures. What I really like about it is that it plays around a lot with gender roles. Like Gene, who's the son, he has kind of like, he can be very feminine at times, and he has a little bit more of a gender fluid way of expressing himself, and that's completely normalized. And they also have like this girl, Tina, who I'm pretty sure is actually autistic or on the autism spectrum, but she's still like really boy crazy, and it's kind of nice to see a girl who's on the spectrum who's not desexualized, and I really enjoyed that. But especially season 8 so far, I mean, they've only aired half of the season so far, but the episodes have been really good. They had a really good Valentine's Day episode, which was about girl power and female friendship. Tina kind of gets dumped on Valentine's Day, and her mother takes her out and was a limousine driver who's also a woman. And the kind of friendship that they experience and what they go through when they're plotting a revenge on Tina's ex-boyfriend. But then, of course, things don't go quite as planned. But I thought that was like a really fun exploration of female friendship and about kind of women sticking together. And I really liked the message of that episode. And they also had a really good episode called The Silence of the Louise, where it was a parody of Silence of the Lambs, where the therapist, the teacher who's a therapist at Tina's and the other kids' school, his dolls get destroyed. Then it's kind of up to Louise and Tina and Jean to figure out who destroyed these dolls, and then they have to turn to Louise's kind of stalker called Millie, who then acts as a parody of Hannibal Lecter, and they together are trying to figure out who committed this crime. And the thing that I liked about this episode, which is actually a thing that I like about the show overall, is that even people that in previous episodes have been kind of mean, then they tend to get a lot of character development, there's and almost like all of the characters in Bob's Burger are actually like have a sympathetic side to them, even if they're not necessarily like the nicest people, but they do have a soft side. So all the characters are very multi-layered, and that's exactly what happens in this episode. That this girl who has first been kind of like not very nice to Louise and the other kids, then once they kind of have to work together and get to know each other, then it actually turns out that she wasn't so bad after all, and she's just kind of a little bit of a weird kid. And when they get past that, then they actually become friends. And I thought that it was like really well done. And I've never seen Silence of the Lambs, so I don't know how good of a parody it was, but the mystery was pretty fun too, actually. And I was very surprised about who actually ended up destroying these dolls. So I think that that's a really good sign of a good mystery. I really recommend that if you haven't seen Bob's Burger, that you check it out, because it's a like I said, the storylines in the episodes are kind of fun, and they shake things up quite a bit, and the characters are very multi-layered, and it's very heartwarming. Like, I think like a lot of TV shows nowadays, they tend to be very cynical and very caustic, and that's fine. I like those kinds of TV shows too, but sometimes you just want to watch something that's a little bit more optimistic, and Bob's Burger is really great at that. It always puts a smile on my face. So those were my January favorites. What were some of your favorites, or have you maybe seen Bob's Burger, or is there any kind of fan art that you would like to talk to me about, or do you have any Tumblr porn you want to recommend to me? Uh, Comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if not, then that's alright. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.